Welcome back.
Welcome back. Okay, this is serious subject, but for business owners, are there positives to when you're saying the irrational pull or the irresistible pull of irrational behaviour? Are there positives for business owners in here?
I think there's always a good, a bad, and a perhaps slightly good, less attractive version of everything.
Yeah.
And there can be some real positives with doing things differently. And let's face it, breaking business is all about doing things differently. Not necessarily irrationally, but certainly differently.
Yes.
I think otherwise people are so easy to get stuck in that this is the way it's always been done, this is what the procedure says, this is this, and you lose the opportunity for innovation, for developing, for everything else. But when you're playing for sheep stations, or in this case, the reputation of you or your business, that's not the time to run around like a complete headless chicken with its feathers on fire, randomly making seemingly irrational decisions, as attractive and exciting as that may be for some of us.
It doesn't work.
Well, I think it can be. It has the potential to be really damaging. So you need to be making that evaluation. And one of the things which we talk with our team about, well, I talk with my team about all the time, is because you can't. As much as I would like to think I am the only planet occupant that can actually do what I do, it's unfortunately not true. It took me a little while to get comfortable with that, but that's okay. So I'm not the only person that could be or should be doing what I do.
One thing that you just mentioned a minute ago, I just want to cut on that point. You were talking about reputation. I know we've talked about these shows before, and you said your decision making starts on this. All you and your team measure. Will this damage my name?
That's just what I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, or will this damage our...
Yep.
And if it doesn't, you can start working back your risks from there. But if it does, you stop.
Yep.
And I suppose the captain of the plane, if he'd had asked the question, look, is there a potential of killing everyone on this, taking off like this, he would have stopped.
But we can see that from where we are now.
Yeah, I know.
But I cannot believe that someone with that experience, that would not have crossed his mind.
No.
But with his years of experience, his thousands and thousands and thousands of flying hours, he's gone, I would suggest he's gone, yep, it's a possibility, but it's so remote, this is far more important, and you mentally discount this. And that's why our team, or my team's got this expectation. They can't always access me.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I don't answer my phone. Frequently. No. Anyway, they can't access me all the time. So they've got a bit of a set of rules.
Yes.
One,
Yep.
will it damage the reputation, well, effectively, even before that, is it going to put you as a team member at risk from a health and safety point of view? So can you get hurt?
Yeah.
If you cannot get, let's face it, you can kill anybody in any scenario, just ask me when I'm doing my training. I can kill someone with a pen.
You'll get some very strange calls now, Jacqueline.
I can kill someone with a pen walking across a classroom, believe me. As you'll see if you come to the February workshop. If it's not going to hurt you as an individual from a health and safety point of view, then okay, next step. If what you're about to do, what you're about to recommend is not going to hurt the client from a reputation point of view, from a health and safety point of view, then continue. Now, bearing in mind, one of our businesses, of course, works in occupational hygiene.
Yes.
So making that evaluation, we make recommendations which are, or can be as blunt as where I was yesterday, whether a container or an office or whatever is safe for someone to walk into. So, when you say, the health and safety of your client, that is sheep stations for us.
Yes.
So if that's all good, then will it damage has it the potential to damage the reputation of our business or the people within our team members, or the reputation to damage the client's business or their reputation?
So do you have, because I'm thinking back to the pilot, so my question, do you have procedures to enable your team to make that analysis and make the decision based on that, or are they going off their experience and instinct? I'm thinking about the pilot in the Air Force, before the fighter pilots come, they'll actually go the length of the runway, make sure there's no fog on there, because these fighter planes are pretty sensitive. And I'm thinking in the fog, he could have simply asked someone to go, look, I need to drive the length of the runway because we can't see the whole length.
Yeah.
Problem solved. There's a risk. I just need to double check.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's some rational things that you could have done.
Yes.
However, if right back at the beginning of your thinking,
Yes.
you've discounted that as a significant hazard, or that the hazard exists, you acknowledge the hazard exists, but you discount it as a significant risk.
Or the procedure to eliminate that risk, which is what you train people in.
Yep, absolutely. If you've already discounted it, it falls out of your thinking from that point on. So I used to work with a general manager who was brilliant. He had two things. He said, it's never too late to stop.
Yeah.
Though possibly with the KLM they shouldn't have stopped, but it's never too late to stop, reassess, and rethink.
Yeah.
And no, wait is always an acceptable answer. And when you've got the general manager of an organisation firmly and frequently establishing that as the culture, it changes eventually the way a team will work. Well, it is never too late to stop, reanalyse and rethink, and it is never too late, and no, wait is always an acceptable answer.
It reminds me of that the people who taught me how to fly, and we fly recreational aircraft, and they always drum into you, you're a recreational pilot. You do not have to get there. You do not have to fly today. And then, so if you fly over a forest, so it doesn't matter how good you are at landing with engines out. If you're over a forest,
you're going to hit a tree.
There's nowhere to land. So fly around. You're a recreational pilot. You do not have to get there. They teach you. Fly where you can always land in case there's an engine out. And they just drum it in, drum it in, drum it in. And the people have unfortunately lost some of their lives. And some of them have happened because they've had an engine out and they've been somewhere where there's just nowhere to land.
Yep. And we get the same thing in sailing. Frequently, the incidents and injuries and lost at seas and all of everything you hear about are where someone has needed to be somewhere, or they decided they need to be somewhere. We need to cross from here to here because we've got a flight, or there's someone flying in, or we're dropping something off, or there's always this outside thing. And so you look at the weather and you go, oh my goodness, we really shouldn't be on the ocean today. Don't worry, we'll just reef all the sails right down and we'll be fine. And you convince yourself it's going to be okay because you don't want to be that numpty sitting in port while everybody else is still having fun out there.
Yes.
I mean, I was watching footage the other day talk about risk averse, and that's one of the reasons why people make these decisions is that trying to manage the risk. There is I think it's sponsored by Red Bull, it wouldn't surprise me, the Red Bull Mega Wave competitions.
Right.
Now these are guys on windsurfers.
Right.
We're talking, the old stand on the board, a little triangle, hang on for your life, arm muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger windsurfers. These guys are surfing in 100 km/h winds.
No thanks.
With the full, and you're thinking, how do you rationally accept that as a risk? But how do you build up to that? I mean, these guys were rocking. They were amazing to watch. But you don't jump in at 100 km/h winds. I mean, these dudes have worked it out at sort of 5 and 10. And they've done some 20s, and they got scared the hell out of themselves at 30. But there's that progression. So while the end point seems completely irrational, and obviously irresistibly pulling because these guys wouldn't be out there otherwise. Absolutely. But that seems completely irrational behaviour from the outside when you're observing that point in time. The process before, I think, is what's important. If you're going to be taking these risks, these more advanced behaviours, should we call them that? There's a whole protocol and process which goes before them to build up to the experience, the knowledge, the whatever. But when you get to that point, what if something goes wrong? And that's why I'll never be windsurfing at 100 kilometres an hour. No, but there's got to be things in here, surely still, that arrest that point.
But from a business point of view, and I think you said something that was really interesting, and I was comparing in my mind as you was talking then, the culture of your organisation that is saying it's always okay to say no and wait, compared to the airline who said our culture is we're always on time.
Yep. It's a very different motivator.
So for business, and I know I'm very conscious of your time. I know you've got to take break in business and go and talk to someone else. Which
we've got a
bunch. I don't take offence of this.
We've got so many interviews today. It's okay because some of these guys are coming to the mastermind. All good. Look, there's a plan.
So if you were giving someone a good piece of takeaway advice today for how to mitigate risk, do you believe it is the cultural message that you as the owner send through the organisation.
Absolutely. And the most fundamental important thing I think with that is, as the business owner, leader, face, whatever, whoever is the most influential person in your business, and it's not always the owner, whoever has got the highest influence in your business, you need to be very, very clear with both your team and your clients so that the two things are congruent. Your team and your clients about how you operate, what you stand for, what your values are. And then the hardest part is actually living it yourself. Because it's easy for your team to go, this is what I'm going to say, and then you go, that's nice, but this is how I'm acting. It's how you act, which is more important.
What a way to end your show.
Thanks for joining us. The irresistible pull of irrational behaviour. More on that next week.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jacqueline.
Thank
It's
you,
been
Mike.
a pleasure joining you. Once
Thanks,
again.
Michael. See you again.